Hey, what's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of the TheNJTraveler. On this episode, I'm going to be giving you guys tips that you should definitely take. Now, it didn't sound right. I'm going to give you advice for if you're kind of new to traveling and you're nervous about it, or if it's going to be like your first big trip overseas. So, one of the first tips that I would give you guys, which sounds kind of obvious, but make sure that your passport is up to date. Make sure that it's not about to expire within a couple of days, couple of weeks. Luckily, the situation never happened to me, but I've heard horror stories about people who ended up getting in trouble with the law. They got injured and had to go to a hospital, and they ended up staying in the country when their passport expired. If that happens, sometimes you might have to go over to an embassy, talk with them, see if you can get a passport expedited over to you. It could cost you a couple $100 to $1,000 or $2,000, and that is not an expense you want to make when you're already flying to another country. So I think that's like a pretty good starter tip right there. Another important one that my girlfriend gave was check the currency exchange rate before you go over there. Sometimes it would be a lot cheaper if you exchange currency at an airport or at your local bank compared to doing it overseas in the country. Especially in tourist areas, sometimes people will get screwed when trying to exchange their money. Also, to deal with the currency rate, again, there are some countries where, let's say, if you're an American watching this, then you'll understand. If you go over to Ukraine, the US dollar, $1 is about 22 of their dollars. So when I went there, I was eating at 5-star restaurants with my dad. We were taking Ubers across whole cities, drinking premium vodka for like $10, $15. It was amazing. But if you go over to, let's say, Iceland, where they have a very high tax rate, some of my buddies that went there, they were paying $15 to $20 for a beer. Jesse Moore, if you're watching this story came from you. Yeah, my buddy Jesse, who was in the army with me, he said he went to Iceland and his salads were like $20, $30. His beers cost that much, and that's horrible. So make sure you research the place that you're going to go to before you decide to take some type of trip over there. So if you don't have the money, save up for it. Also, if you're a young traveler and you don't really have that much money saved up, you can still travel. I recommend staying in well-known hostels. So in Europe, if you go into a hostel, some of them can go from $5 up to $25 a night, which is nothing compared to a hotel. Granted, some of the hostels you might go to probably aren't the best, but as long as you have your stuff locked up, either in a personal locker that the hostel will give you, or if you have it in one of their set rooms where where all of your bags are locked and there's a camera on everything, you're going to be safe. I've had pretty enjoyable experiences staying in hostels, and I ended up saving hundreds of dollars on trips. Some guy's driving like an asshole in front of me right now. Not really digging it. So that's another tip, is to travel cheaply. If you're going to Europe and you're going to get food somewhere, if you're trying to eat on a budget, there are plenty of street vendors. Every country I've been to, sometimes the street vendors are even better than the actual restaurants. Especially in Germany, I know you guys will love this. The Turkish food, the doner, the kebabs, I miss that so much. If you get a doner wrap from Germany or a doner box, it's like €6. It's a whole bunch of French fries, meat, vegetables, sometimes some cheeses and some spicy powders or spicy sauces that they'll put in it. Amazing. I miss that Turkish food so much. So I would definitely recommend going over to street vendors and eating at the little local places compared to going to well-known restaurants. Hell, even the McDonald's and the Burger King in Europe, it's different than American ones. The best McDonald's I've ever been to was one right outside of my base in Germany. It's like 10 times healthier, tastes better, everything is just different about it. So that's the next tip, or that was that tip. Eat cheaper, especially if you're going to be traveling on a budget as a young traveler like me. Trying to think about what else I recommend. Oh, go online and look up how to get an international driver's license. That one is really important. So if you plan on renting a vehicle overseas, you're going to need to get an international driver's license. When my father came over to visit me in Germany, he went on AAA.com and he got an international driver's license through them. Because of that, he was able to rent out a car and drive it all over Europe. If you get one of these licenses, it might cost you like $50 to $100, but it's well worth it because it will qualify you to travel in almost every single country in the world. I have mine with me. Let me just park real quick and I will pull it out for you guys so you can see what it looks like. Parallel parking like a beast. One thing I always do, I have my travel bag with me all the time. In this bag I have, right in here, my passport, my international driver's license, currency from other countries, change of clothes, everything. Obviously, if you see my other video, I love doing last minute trips. So, I'm always ready to go to another country. So this right here is from the Bundesrepublik of Deutschland. In other words, Germany. This is my international driver's license. It's a 3-year license. Let me see if I can flip the camera over for you guys. Oh, well, there's my information, but yeah, that was my old military mailbox, so that doesn't matter anymore. I am no longer in. Basically, if you are qualified on certain types of vehicles, you will be able to drive whatever that is in what country you're trying to go to. So if you want to drive a motorcycle overseas, make sure that it's on your license before you go over there and get your international permit. I can't really think of any more tips right now. It's been kind of a long day. I need some coffee. So just to reiterate, make sure your passport is valid and not going to expire anytime soon. Make sure you look up the currency exchange rate because that could save you a couple $100. Stay in hostels if you want to travel cheaply. Eat at, street vendors. Get pizza. Try the local food. Don't eat at 5-star restaurants if you can't afford it. It goes without saying, but I've seen a lot of people travel like idiots who say, oh my god, I want to go take awesome pictures for Instagram. They'll go out to a 5-star restaurant when they're broke as fuck and they aren't making any actual money. They just want to seem cooler than they are. Don't do that if you don't have the money for it. I'm all about splurging and doing all this crazy stuff, but do it smart. And lastly, make sure you get your international driver's license. Then you can go out, rent a car, travel over Europe. I drove with my dad to Germany. From Germany, we drove to Venice, Milan. Then we went over to Switzerland. We drove to Austria. So make sure you get that license. It's really important. Anyways, thank you for watching if you made it all the way through. And thanks for watching the NJ Traveler.